Monday, March 6th. This meeting is now officially called to order. And I will start with a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day, dear God. We thank you for the opportunity to meet once more in this fashion as we celebrate Women's History Month. Dear God, we ask that you bless all women who strive daily to bring peace to their communities, their homes, and their hearts. Give us strength to continue to do our job. Where there's hatred, dear Lord, let us show love. We pray for all women who face prejudice, inequality, and gender disparities. And dear Lord, we will not forget our men who are here to support us on a daily basis. Thank you, dear Lord, for all these blessings. In your name's sake, amen. Well, welcome all, ladies, gentlemen, to as we celebrate Women's History Month. We know that Women's History Month, just as Black History Month, started out as a week celebration, and then it evolved into a month's celebration. That is to show you how important these issues are. The actual celebration of Women's History Month grew out of a week-long celebration of women's contributions to culture, history, and society, organized by the School District of Sonoma, California in 1978. Presentations were given at many schools. Hundreds of students participated in a real woman essay contest, and a parade was held in downtown Santa Rosa. A few years later, the idea had caught on within communities, school districts, and organizations across the country. In 1980, President Jimmy Carter issued the presidential proclamation declaring the week of March 8th as National Women's History Week. The United States Congress followed suit the next year, passing a resolution establishing a national celebration. 6 years later, the National Women's History Project successfully petitioned Congress to expand the event to the entire month of March. International Women's Day is a global celebration of the economic, political, and social achievements of women, which took place for the first time on March 8, 1911. Many countries around the world celebrate the occasion with demonstrations, educational initiatives, and customs such as presenting women with gifts and flowers. The theme for this year's celebration is Celebrating Women Who Tell Our Stories. This theme is both a tribute to the ceaseless work of caregivers and frontline workers during this ongoing pandemic, and also a recognition of the thousands of ways that women of all cultures have provided both healing and hope throughout history. Money and women, they are the two strongest things in the world. There are things you do for a woman you wouldn't do for anything else. Same with money. And this is a quote from Satchel Paige, an American baseball player. Women's History Month, lady. Happy Women's History Month, ladies. We honor you for your strength, your dedication, your wisdom, your loyalty, your honesty, and your resilience. We celebrate all women all over the world this month, Women's History Month. And along with all the responsibilities and the duties that women are faced and women have to do each day, we have to make sure that as women, we take care of ourselves. We take care of our bodies and our minds. And right now we have a very prestigious doctor, Dr. Olive, who will guide us and present us with ways in which we should continue to take care of our bodies and our minds, our health. So without much ado, I would ask Dr. Oliver to introduce herself and to present us with ways in which to take care of these beautiful bodies that we all have. Dr. Olive, floor is yours.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure seeing everybody here on the internet. It's not Zoom, so I'm hopefully going to be able to share my screen because I haven't done it through WebEx, but I do have my friends Clinton and Maisha who might be able to help me out. So we'll see how it goes. Happy Women's Month. I'm going to talk a little bit about just general, as we all get older, taking care of our health. So it's going to apply to all of us. But, during Women's History Month, as you've laid out, which has been a great introduction to how Women's History Month has come to fruition, and how important it is that we take these months to really look into our history, because as we see, whether African American history, women's history, we all have to understand and know our background, our history, our culture, so we could continue to pass it down to others. And so mistakes aren't repeated. And so we continue to grow and enrich each other. So, and thank you for the prayer as well. So I'm going to try to open system preferences. Let's see. You just give me 1 second. I'm just trying to get to. This keeps on. Clinton.
Yes.
So when I go on and it says share, I'm trying to hit share, but it's going.
Hold on. Because hold on. I'm trying to share it for you. I'm gonna try to share it for you.
Thanks so much.
Okay, talk for a minute. I'm gonna give it to you.
Okay, while you talking, while he's looking, I'll say something about Dr. Olive. We should have had a bio on her. Keep talking, and I'm gonna pull a bio up. Keep going.
She promised me that she would do that herself.
Oh, you're gonna do it yourself?
No, well,
Sure.
Maisha will do it. I don't know.
Maisha's gonna do it. She's pulling it up now, but while I'm trying to share this. So stand by.
Maisha, it's okay. I'm going to just go ahead and say that I actually am an ophthalmologist. I'm work in the Bronx on Eastchester Road. I grew up in the Bronx and went to school at Brown and then Brown University for medical school. Came back and worked at Kings County and for my residency in ophthalmology. I do surgical retina and medical retina, which is specialty. And I'm on staff at Mount Sinai, New York Eye and Ear, and Montefiore. So I teach the residents at Montefiore. And I am also a proud Grace Baptist Church member, and I go to church with Clinton and Maisha, and also Miss Cloud. So, and I think Miss Dickerson's on the line, and I recognize that name too. So, that's my bio, and you could share the screen.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah. It's not letting me do it
The
either.
only person that can share is whoever has host privilege is the host.
Like,
So
that's
who's the main
It's
host?
Alberto.
Alfredo.
Alfredo.
You have to
Afraid of.
Yeah.
I can try. I mean, I've never done it, but I mean, how can I?
I would have to email it to you.
Okay, email it, save it, then share it.
I would have to email it to you.
All right. I'm gonna text you my email real quick.
Okay, so while you're doing that, we could continue with our Women's History Month celebration. So each one of our members of the committee was given the task to research and speak about woman of their choice. And I will start. Women's History Month, and we are featuring Dr. Patricia Bath. Dr. Patricia Bath was an ophthalmologist who invented a cutting-edge device for cataract surgery. Dr. Bath's laser phaco probe and technique led to her posthumous induction to the National Inventors Hall of Fame in 2021. She and engineer Mariam Crook became the first two Black women to be inducted into the organization. In 1973, Dr. Bath became the first Black female physician to complete a residency in ophthalmology. In 1975, Dr. Bath became the first female faculty member in the UCLA Jules Stein Eye Institute Department of Ophthalmology. In 1983, she became the first U.S. woman to serve as chair of an ophthalmology training program. In 1988, Dr. Bath became the first African-American woman to receive a patent for a medical invention. She has received 5 patents throughout her career, all while advocating for racial minorities in the public health sector. Dr. Bath died in 2019. Today, we celebrate Dr. Patricia Bath, ophthalmologist. Thank you. So I guess you can relate to her, Dr. Olive.
I sure can. It's very impressive. It's changed ophthalmology tremendously. Before we used to have cataract surgery and people would stay over in the hospital because it was a complicated procedure. And now people are able to do 10 or 15 per day without any stitch. And it's because of her invention.
Thank you. Thank you for that information. Alfredo, are we making any progress here? Are we able to share?
I'm still trying. So sorry.
I'm sorry too. I wish we had.
Glenn, I haven't got that email's not coming through.
Oh, you did.
No, I know you probably did. I'm just saying I haven't gotten it yet.
Okay, Dr. Olive, You want to just start?
Sure, no problem. I'm just gonna have to look at my screen here. So what I'm talking about is maintaining a healthy lifestyle. Um, the 6 tips for a healthy lifestyle include the following. So just for us to all remember, I made it easy of just having 6 tips and on different websites, even the CDC has this just so that we could have an idea of as we're getting older, because obviously all of us are from, I think this applies really to 30, 40, 50, things are changing now due to stress and all these other factors. During the pandemic, people didn't move as much, although, it's so important to stay as healthy as possible. So, I was thinking about initially talking about certain disease or a problem, but I thought, why don't we do the proactive way of trying to stay healthy um, instead of waiting until there is a problem, and how do we solve it? So the first one is just having a regular checkup with your primary care physician. The second one is eating and drinking healthy. So, I'll go into each one of them in more detail. Another one to think of is move more, sit less throughout the day. Number 4 is not to smoke, don't use tobacco. 5 is to know your family history, and 6 is to be aware of changes in your brain health. So visiting your physician or having preventative care includes visiting your doctor at least once a year, not just when you're feeling ill. And even as a physician for many years, I was just kind of going to subspecialists if I needed it and just having my usual mammogram. But I finally connected with an excellent doctor at Weill Cornell, and she really sat down and went over what I had and hadn't gotten. So it had been more than 10 years since I got my tetanus vaccine, just basic family history. She wanted to know all these things that kind of checking out just my hemoglobin A1C because of a strong family history of diabetes, making sure that I was getting things done. So it was actually good to sit down with her and not to just go to doctors when there was a problem or not feeling well because of a back pain or whatever. So, the CDC and everyone suggest yearly visits for all adults. Also, just to check for recommended screening, which includes, once again, like mammogram, colonoscopy. People should visit an ophthalmologist once a year at least, and also podiatrists as people are getting older, especially for diabetics. I suggest when you go to your physician, also, if you have questions ahead of time, is to write them down so that when you get in there, as you know, with physicians, the time is shorter than before. And sometimes patients go in and they'll even tell me, I saw my primary care doctor. It was such a quick visit. I had all these questions and never asked and never got answers. So sometimes it's a good idea to do that ahead of time and then ask about any necessary vaccinations. Screening tests could help diagnose health problems early. Like I said, the colorectal screening, diabetes check, cholesterol check, bone health evaluation. So especially for women, Medicare actually pays for a screening test for osteoporosis every 2 years. So to check your bone health. And it's very simple. It's an x-ray of the ankle. And one of the main issues for women, especially as they get older, is decreased calcium. And when falling, that they have more injuries. And as you know, with broken hips, that is a very big problem as people get older, not only because of having to either have surgery or limited mobility, but that just being hospitalized for that and having the surgery is a big problem. Dental checkups are also important. I know that especially during the pandemic, a lot of people missed their follow-ups with their dentist, but even before, just for basic cleaning and to make sure that you're on schedule with that. And, we always talk about it, even in, especially in our church, is just mental health evaluation, that, it's not just that you feel that mental health is stigmatized to being something separate, but it is part of your whole entire health. And it should be treated that way as well. So the next topic that I was talking about is eating and drinking healthy. So it's so important to make healthy choices for food. And as we get older, we also need fewer calories because we're just not moving around as much as kids who are running in the playground or playing basketball or on a team. So not only just healthy choices, but fewer calories. All adults should have 5 servings of fruits and vegetables daily, deep colors, deep green, bright yellow, and orange, fiber-rich whole grain bread, heart-healthy fish, calcium and vitamin D that you could get from milk and yogurt, and healthier fats such as olive and canola oil instead of butter and fat. I actually, when I first was putting the slides together, was thinking that probably 3 or 5 bottles of water or some liquid was about what we should have per day. And it's actually more. It should be 5 to 7 or 5 to 8 bottles of water, because hydration is so important for. Wait, am I still? Hold on a second. Okay. I'm sorry. I was kind of flipping through these. Hydration is so important for our bodies, especially. I feel that wearing a mask, we just don't hydrate as much. And especially when you're working and you're working with a mask on. During the summer, we lose fluid when we're perspiring, and even when people have gotten sick with COVID, just from the fluids that are lost during that time. So I always suggest when people, especially if people have the flu or feeling that they might have COVID, is just to get a lot of rest and a lot of hydration. So it's so important, but I just feel like we don't do it as much as we should. The next part is just exercising and staying active. Because being active could help you prevent and delay many chronic diseases, improve your balance and stamina, and reduce risk of falls and improve your brain health. So many times, although we don't want to get off the couch and it's easier to kind of lay in the bed, especially after a long day of work, after exercising, most people really do feel much better and just feel that they're, whether it's yoga or just walking around outside, is definitely helps your brain health too. On the next slide, I had just the information for quitting smoking. It's there's free help with New York City on newyorkcity.gov, and it's so important that, not only now with all these pulmonary issues that people have who have gotten COVID, that afterwards, whether they're on oxygen or have this chronic cough, I just think it's so important for people to avoid smoking. And I know even with younger kids who are now using vape, or, which has more nicotine and more addictive, all of that is just not great for the lungs. And it's better to seek out help, whether it's with the medical doctor with patches or just, getting the free care that New York City offers. The next slide was talking about family history. It is critical that you know your family history, and so many times in the past, people just didn't have any idea. Either, older family members didn't know what their diagnosis was, but also, and so it wouldn't be shared. Some families felt that it shouldn't be told; it was more of a secret, or they didn't want to share their issues, medical issues, with other family members. But without that, you sometimes, put other people in your family at risk. And so, if people have a family history, as you see with colon cancer, even younger people are developing it. It could be if someone had a polyp and had a colonoscopy, it was removed, everybody in the family should have an idea that that's an issue, because some of the younger members might have gotten a colonoscopy sooner and had that polyp removed, but instead might have put it off or wasn't able to get a colonoscopy, and that polyp turned into cancer. So I know from an ophthalmologist, glaucoma, the risk factors for glaucoma are family history, being African American or a person of color, and as you get older. So I say that, most of my patients fit all three categories. And so it's great when I'm able to say, it looks like you don't have glaucoma, but I think it's one of those screening tests that should be done every year. And if you have a family history, it is critical to have a visual field or at least an evaluation once a year. Like I said, speak with the medical doctor so that you could have preventative evaluations. And now in medicine, there's so much genetic testing that's being done to help people find out what type of sickle cell. Clearly, some people don't understand that, even the trait people have significant problems, not just sickle cell disease, but if people don't know their genetic predisposition to certain diseases, then until there is a problem that could have been prevented, they'll fall ill, which is unfortunate. So share the information with other family members, and hopefully they will share it with you too. And then the next one is exercising your brain. So, I feel like as we get older too, there's a lot of, people aren't reading as much. People are kind of just scrolling and sometimes playing games on their phones or computer, but it's really important to do word puzzles, number puzzles. Jigsaw puzzles are good even for kids to get used to. Just anything to challenge your brain by trying new things, playing against the clock, maybe taking up a new hobby. It's just better. There's some types, like I said, of genetic predisposition to Alzheimer's or dementia. But if we could continue, instead of kind of waiting till there's a problem, all this preventative care is very helpful. So I am now open to any questions, and thank you for listening. I'm sorry I didn't have the slides.
Thank you, Dr. Anna. So sorry. I could actually see the slides. I don't know why I was not able to share it, but I think Mr. Mike said he's gonna send it to everyone so they could have it.
Perfect. That would be great. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Olive. Some very useful information here that we can all think about. And in many cases, we have family history that, yes, we don't know about because they didn't want us to know. I don't know if they were scared or they just didn't want their business out there, which is not helping some of us at this stage. You mentioned about glaucoma, and there are three factors there which could be family history. I'm getting older, I think. And I don't remember the third one. But
I'm African American and a person of color, so I see it mostly in people from the Caribbean and
Oh, really?
African Americans. Yeah.
because 2 years ago I was diagnosed with glaucoma, but I don't know of anyone in the family, don't know of any family history. Could have been there, but I don't know anything about it. And at the time when I was diagnosed, I had no problems with my eyes. I still don't, as far as I can see, but I know it has to do with the retina. But I normally go for an eye exam because I'll get free glasses through my company. And the very fine prints, I had trouble reading that. So that's one of the reasons why I visited the ophthalmologist. And as you have said, go for an eye examination, even if you do not see anything wrong, still go, because you never know what the doctors could find or what you could learn within that visit. And that was it for me.
Exactly.
Thank you for that information.
Does anybody have any other questions or concerns? Anything that I could?
Yes, doctor. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yes, okay. Regarding the eyes and people from the Caribbean, I understood early on that it was because of the sun. People were more exposed to the sun than any place else. We were always in the sun, and we were told that because I noticed that they said people should try to protect their eyes, even kids, from wearing dark glasses. But as children, that never bothered us. We never cared. So we were always out in the sun, So I don't know if if that is a part of why we struggle so much with eye situations.
So yes, sun doesn't cause glaucoma, unfortunately. I mean, so there's certain things that have been said that's why it's important to find out. Sometimes I remember when I was training at Kings County, and they would say, oh, if someone came in and they had a problem with their optic nerve, which is what is damaged from glaucoma and other things. Oh, the reason why they have a problem with their optic nerve is because they drink bush tea. And I would always say, but I grew up drinking that. So that's one myth that has to be stopped here in this clinic, right? So, I mean, sometimes things just perpetuate, and it might not. It's just like what we're seeing even with the vaccine. Like, it starts rolling, and then it becomes true, which is fine. It's okay. But that's why we have to do these things of medical education, because otherwise, um, uh, people have this idea. So, I think it's I'm echoing again.
So, hi, this is Carla. I have a question.
Wait, let me just finish beforehand. It's just
Oh,
that
sure,
I
I'm
stopped
sorry.
because of the echoing. So
Oh, sorry.
if people aren't bothered, or if you could go on mute, then that might be a little bit easier. So the issue is that glaucoma causes damage to the optic nerve. And it just happens that people from the Caribbean are more prone to it. I don't know that they really understand why. It could just be genetically passed down. But I see people from Africa and Nigeria, and they don't really have as much, right? And they're in the sun too. There are people from other areas where, if that was true. Now, the sun does cause increased cataract formation, which is something different. And so the sun is more of a problem now because of the ozone and how much climate change has made it so that the ozone layer has disintegrated. So I do suggest that people wear sunglasses, and even young kids if they play sports outside, just because of the higher incidence of cataract formation, but that's different from glaucoma. And it doesn't always have to be. So I have my colleagues test me because my grandmother had it. So I used to love putting drops in her eyes, but I had no idea why. My great aunt, my two uncles, but my mom doesn't have it. But still, it doesn't matter. I still feel like I still check myself all the time. And recently, one of my cousins called me and said, oh, I just got started on a glaucoma medication. I wonder how come? And I couldn't even imagine that she didn't remember that her father had it, our uncle had it. I mean, so we have a strong history. So everybody should have known. And I've said it a couple of times at Christmas dinner, but it still didn't get through to her. So, it's one of those things. It's just worth repeating, and it's worth to get checked all the time. So thanks for the question. And I'm happy, Miss Sadie, if you have any other questions for me to answer.
Not at this time.
Okay, very good.
And doctor, once you start taking the drops, is it a lifetime thing?
Well, so this is the
Or
thing.
is there
If you were given, some people are given drops earlier than they need to. So it's always good to get another opinion if you think you need one. Or if you feel that, I always suggest even to patients when I tell them a diagnosis that they should get a second opinion. I mean, because most doctors, if they feel secure in what they're doing, then they'll offer a second opinion. When you go to somebody and they don't want you to go to anybody else, beware. So if you know it's reasonable to hear it from a second person, and then if you don't need to get drops, then you don't have to. If there is progression, meaning that there's damage to the optic nerve and you have visual field damage, then yes, it's like blood pressure. You have to stay on it until you have another procedure, which might be laser or surgery. So,
Very much.
Ms.
And I just
Burris,
want to say, I'm here to testify to get a second opinion. I'm here to testify. That's all.
Always helps. What
Ms.
I
Burris.
don't on, it's a question and a statement. Someone will maybe have symptoms and they go to the doctor and they're diagnosed with high blood pressure. And immediately, and when I say high blood pressure, it's not very high numbers, but immediately, because the doctor would put them on blood pressure medication. And I understand blood pressure medication is a lifetime medication. Why so? Instead of maybe asking the patient to change their diet. Because in some cases, I think that could be reversed in the very beginning. If they start eating differently, eating better, exercise.
Yeah, I mean, it's reasonable to do. I think that though, after a while, because I do have some patients who it's been about 2 years of them promising that they were going to change their diet. Or, I mean, because stress you can't control, right? That's the only issue that I say with blood pressure. So, you know, your blood pressure, if you think you could take it down with changing your diet and eating garlic, I have no problems with it. But you have to understand if you get in a car crash, your blood pressure is going up. And so you have to so blood pressure isn't just check once and go on medication. It's reasonable family history, change diet, check your kidney function, even a kidney ultrasound to make sure it's not an issue with your kidneys. Because sometimes it's an issue with your kidneys and not essential hypertension. And so once that's done and there is a diagnosis and you've tried and tried to change it with diet, then it's reasonable to go on medication. And if you're not sure, just to get another opinion, take your blood work with you, have a blood pressure cuff and show them what the levels are at home, and then you make that decision. But I do have patients who, unfortunately, you could get a stroke in your eye, and when I ask them if they've had taken their blood pressure medicine, they'll say, oh, my doctor gave it to me a year ago, but I thought I could control it and lose weight. And, you know, it probably was one time that their blood pressure shot up due to whatever, stress, bad situation, and then they had a problem. So,
Thank you so much. Are there any more questions, any concerns?
Carla had a question. Right, Carla?
Yes, thank you, Sadie. I had a question about glaucoma and asthma. So, as we all know, there's a high incidence of asthma in the Bronx. And I have a family history of glaucoma, but some family members have both. And there's something about, like, it's almost like they have to choose between breathing and seeing. Because what he told me is if you have glaucoma, you cannot take the steroid inhaler. Can you talk a little bit to that and how people who suffer from both, which apparently is not uncommon in our community, can balance those two medical issues?
sure, of course. So with Could you put your thing on mute? Because I echo when
Oh,
I'm
sure,
sorry, when it's
sorry.
on.
Yeah.
Sorry. So, yeah, steroids tend to increase the pressure in the eye. And so the inhaler too will cause the eye pressure to go up. But people need to be on steroid medication for breathing. So often as I said, sometimes it's drops and sometimes then it goes to a next stage of a patient needing laser treatment to increase the drainage system of the eye. And so if they're able to increase the drainage system, it's possible that they could still be on those steroid inhalers and the pressure would be lowered by the laser. So that's one way of doing it. Nowadays, they have a lot of different new asthma medication that might not be steroid based, a lot of immunomodulating medications. And so people are on infusions and injections that might also help. So it's possible to do, but it would probably be best to coordinate between the pulmonologist or the primary care doctor and the glaucoma specialist to get the right medication. So I don't think you have to choose. You just have to have the doctors talk to each other and coordinate, which people don't do too much anymore, but you just have to push for that to happen. Hopefully I answered your question.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yes.
Questions, concerns? Okay, there are no more questions, no more concerns. Dr. Olive, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, busy afternoon to be with us. We appreciate this very much. Thank you so much. And
Thank you.
happy Women's History Month.
Thank you. Happy Women's
You're
History
one-
Month to you too. And I feel like there were a lot of ophthalmology questions. And although, but I'm happy to come back another time, maybe not, I'll speak to Clinton and Maisha or with you as well, Ms. Cloud, and I'm happy to talk about ophthalmology too.
Celebrate you, Women's History Month.
Thank you so much. God bless you all.
Dr. Olive, just quickly, I wanted to say thank you very much. This is Talene Dickerson. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Take care. Thank you.
Okay, have a great night. Be safe.
But Tolene, we're
well.
not seeing your beautiful face.
I know I was traveling. I was coming in from the doctor. So I'm just getting out of the cab and coming upstairs.
I understand. I understand. Thank you.
But thank you for the beautiful face. Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll continue with our Women's History Month celebration. We have members of the committee. Do you have anything to report? Did you do any research? Do you have a Woman of the Year, woman that you would like to celebrate?
Well, this is Sadie, and I don't have a Woman of the Year to celebrate. I just like to celebrate all women because, for a time there, women were not celebrated, as we know. It's like we were an afterthought, and everybody thought that they would dump on us. And even Satan, right? The serpent, who did he visit? The woman, okay? And lied to the woman. So we know we are standing up for ourselves. And I'm very pleased to know that women, we have, broken through all of that and we are standing firm. That's my bit for Women's History Month.
Ms. Jones, may I?
Thank you. I'm sorry?
May I?
Sure.
I'm not part of the committee. I should be though. I just like to celebrate all the women of the community Board 12 district for all of your hard work in this community. It's this community that kind of fuels me to do the work that I do. And I'm so grateful to be in company in a community with you all, including Dr. Olive. Like, even though she's not a member of this community, she is a Bronx girl, true and true. And she is a woman of God. So I just wanted to really just shout her out and all the women of Community Board 12. I really, really appreciate you all, and I'm grateful for all the work that you do. And God bless you all.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for those kind words. And yes, we celebrate you also, Maisha, for the great work that you have done in this community and maybe are still doing. We just love to see you and to get encouragement from you. God bless. Oh, there's Miss Talene. Now she's showing the beautiful face. So thank you to all women. We appreciate you all. And let's not forget our men. At least give them some kudos there. Thank you, men. Thank you for putting up with us.
Thank you, men.
Correct. And encouraging us.
Yes.
most
And
of the time.
supporting us.
Supporting us.
Supporting, yes.
You've got some great
Yeah.
men on this call. Just
Yes. Yes, we do. Thank you so much.
Thank
Does
you, Sadie.
anyone
Shout
else?
out to all the women of Community Board 12. And I just marvel at how you women have pull it together and been a great encouragement to all of us.
So much, Mr. Ted James.
Thank you.
Thanks for your support. You've always supported this ministry, this committee. You've always supported this committee. And we thank you so much for your support. Also, Alfredo, thanks so much for your support. Does anyone else have anything they would like to talk about? Anything, anyone? Floor is open.
I'd like to ask the doctor something else about the
She's
doctor.
still here.
Sorry
She's
about
still
that.
here.
You know,
Still on duty.
still on duty. Okay, about the aging process. You know, as we age, sometimes we find out that we don't have enough time to do the things that we need to do. You know, we try to eat right and exercise, but sometimes we even forget that we didn't eat. You know, so what's going on with that?
That's why I mentioned the brain exercises.
Yeah. Okay.
So-
Okay. So the brain. So okay. So
no. But the thing is, it's what everybody talks about now that I don't think, we do enough. I definitely don't. But it's self-care and just taking a few minutes to, even if you write it down, even if you, put a little reminder on your refrigerator, have a bottle of water. I mean, I actually, I grew up in the Bronx, 219th Street, Bronx Boulevard, and my, family members on Bronxwood, all around there, lived a little bit in Mount Vernon. And then my parents moved down to Harlem. So I moved down to help take care of my mom, who's 89. And she's really good in having a big bottle of water with her all the time. I see her sometimes, and she's 89, as I get downstairs and she's lifting her legs up for her exercise. I mean, I don't do that. The only thing I do is like run down the stairs, run to the car, run to the office. I mean, but you have to do those things. So it's really just your self-care. And so, like I said, the puzzles, she does her computer game, and I come home, she says she did all this paperwork, which I'm not sure what she does, but it's still keeping her mind going. So we have to keep on taking care of ourselves. So that's the whole thing. And the men too.
thank you. Thank you.
I also want to just, with Women's History, is to mention Maisha, because she's head of our women's ministry, and she does such an amazing job. It's just this like seamless. She just kind of floats through and gets everything done, and stressless as much as possible. So thank you, Maisha. You're the greatest.
Yes, thank you.
Dr. Olive, she's also in the house with our first chair, so that in itself, she gets all kinds of kudos and awards and all kind of stuff. I love you, I love you, I love you, Clinton Mike.
He's at basketball
just had
practice with Ellis. So yes.
No, I didn't say anything, Clinton, nothing at all.
We said you were the best, Clinton.
I
We
heard you.
said you were
I
the
heard you.
best.
I heard you. I heard you. I heard you. Yes,
Good evening.
she does
Good evening.
deserve
Can I
all
chime
that.
in for a second?
She does deserve all those kudos for living with me
Okay,
and
just-
putting up with me. She does.
I know.
There's Andy. Andy has something to say.
A-
Hi,
Andy has
Andy.
his hand raised.
Hi, Andy.
Oh, yes. Mr.
Blessings,
Andy
everybody.
King, yes, you can speak now.
I just want to say thank you, committee, and I want to thank the doc for that great presentation and information. You know, as we get a little, I don't want to say older, but as we spend a little more time on this earth and mature, we do need some of this great information that helps us see better, think better, and walk better. So to the doc, I want to say thank you, and to all the sisters who've done it right, to our mamas who, you know, when we fell, rubbed our knees, put the Band-Aid on it, you know, fed us, wiped our tears. To all you mothers and sisters and aunts, I want to say happy Women's Month for the strength that you all have to making sure our household stays strong. And, you know, and as I always walk back and see Brother Figueroa, he's always like, yeah, we got it right. Our sisters get it together. So all praises to you, my good man. And thank all of you for a great tonight. I will ask you all tomorrow evening, Maisha, I would like for you tomorrow on our King Talk Tuesday that airs tomorrow. For those of you know, we have our talk show. I was going to call you tonight, and just so happened when I got on, I see you here. So I would like for you to join us as one of the guests for Women History Month tomorrow to have a conversation about the strength of a woman. So I hope you accept, and looking forward to talking to you and talking about the strength of sisterhood. So you can text me up, or you can just say, raise your hand now and say, yeah, I'll be there. The show airs 8 o'clock tomorrow night.
I would, but your chancellor has me working late tomorrow night. But
the chancellor, oh, well, you know, when the chancellor rings, we just got to answer the bell, you know?
So, but maybe the next month, perhaps. We have a lot of town halls. So this
Okay,
coming.
well, we're going to be talking about the strength of a woman. So for our sisters, I would ask you all to chime in tomorrow evening at 8 p.m. I'll put the link in the chat for those who are available to watch King Talk tomorrow and be a part of the conversation that's going to go down with our sisters. So thank you all again, and to all our beautiful women here, happy Women's Month. And to the brothers in the room, say it loud.
Thank you for the invitation, Andy. I really appreciate it.
You got it. God bless.
Thank you, Mr. King. Thanks for chiming in and wishing all the women happy. It's Women's History Month, and for all the good work that they have done within this community, and to the women that we stand on their shoulders, the women whose shoulders we
Right.
stand on.
That's so true. Yep.
Though
Thank
there are
you.
many. Okay, thank you. Well, if there's nothing else to be said, no questions, nothing else, I will ask for an adjournment.
So move.
We could hang out here if we all want to do that. We could hang out here. We could talk about other things.
Ladies, be well.
I'll have to leave in a little bit.
Evening,
So
everybody.
I'd love to hang out, but I have to leave in a little bit.
That's
So-
why you forget to eat, Miss Sadie, because you're always working.
Oh my goodness.
Who else forgets to eat? Not me. And it shows on me.
I got that in the thing.
Okay, so move.
So moves. I'll stop the recording.
Okay, meeting is adjourned.
Okay.
Bless you all.
God bless you guys.
8:06 p.m. Thank you so much.
I'll give you a
everyone.
wife kiss for me. Hug and kisses.
Of course.
I'm sorry.
Good night, all.
I said,
Good night.
Alfredo, I'm talking to him about giving his wife a shout out for Women's History Month for me.
All right.
Oh, there she is. Hi there.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
She's always in the background. I'm reminding me. She's always in the background.
Right, because she's really the board member. You just a
Yes,
representative.
exactly.
Yes.
She writes the notes down for me like that. I don't forget.
Yeah, y'all.
Fredo,
Thanks
it's
again,
either
Dr.
her,
Olive.
it's either her or the little boss.
Right, the little. Oh
That's
no,
right.
that's the
Yeah,
boss.
the little boss is over there.
That is the boss.
Come here.
Okay, thank you all for coming.
Bye.
Thank
Hope to
you.
see y'all in
Ladies,
person
There
soon.
she is.
Hi
Hi,
there.
Precious.
Happy Women's History Month.
You guys.
To you.
Happy
Yeah.
Women's History Month.
Bye.
That was a,
Okay,
that was
good
a very,
night.
very, very good meeting, Library and Cultural Affairs Committee. Very good meeting.
Yes, very beautiful meeting. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you all for your help. I could not have done this by myself.
Thank you.
Good
Ms.
Thank
night.
you for your
Good night, guys.
support.
Everybody be safe, please.
Yes, everybody.